In 1793, revolutionary France declared war, not on a nation, but on time itself. They banned the 7-day week, outlawed it, erased it from every calendar in the country. In its place, 10 perfectly rational, perfectly scientific days. 12 years later, total collapse. Then in 1929, the Soviet Union tried again. A 5-day week this time. Factories that never slept. A worker's paradise. On paper. By 1940, Stalin quietly surrendered. Two of history's most powerful revolutions. Regimes that toppled kings and rewrote entire societies. Tried to destroy the 7-day week. Both failed. And here's the part that should make your skin prickle. The 7-day week is the only measurement of time that has absolutely nothing to do with nature. Nothing. A year? That's Earth completing one slow, graceful orbit around the sun. A month? Roughly the moon swelling from darkness to silver and back. A day? One rotation of our spinning planet. But 7 days? 7 doesn't divide evenly into 365. It doesn't fit cleanly into 30. Mathematically, it's a disaster. A cosmic mistake. So why? Do 8 billion people on this planet wake up, go to work, and rest according to a cycle that nature never created? The answer takes us back 4,000 years. To Babylonian priests squinting at the night sky. To a number so strange, ancient mathematicians thought it was divine. And to a pattern hidden in the moon that most people have never noticed. By the end of this, you'll never look at Monday the same way again. The Babylonians and the Wandering Gods. Around 2000 BCE, in the dust-choked cities of ancient Mesopotamia, the Babylonians were obsessed with the sky. They didn't have Netflix. They didn't have books. Therefore, they watched the stars every single night, the way we binge-watch series today. A priest standing on a ziggurat, the warm desert wind brushing his robes, eyes locked on a sea of lights. Thousands of stars held fixed positions, steady and predictable. The ancients called these the fixed stars. But 7 objects behaved differently. They wandered. Night after night, they drifted across the sky, moving against the background stars like rebellious children refusing to stay in line. The Greeks had a word for these wanderers, planets. That's where our word planet comes from. These 7 wanderers were the sun, the moon, and the 5 visible planets: Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. But here's what matters. To the Babylonians, these weren't just bright dots in the sky. They were gods. Living, breathing, watching gods. And the Babylonians wanted these gods protecting them constantly, every hour of every day. Therefore, they invented a system. Each god would rule over 1 hour. 24 hours in a day. 7 gods. The math didn't line up perfectly because it couldn't. The cycle spilled over into the next day, and the next, and the next. After exactly 168 hours, precisely 7 days, the cycle reset. Each day was named after the god who ruled its first hour. This was the planetary week. And suddenly, the number 7 became sacred. But there's another reason 7 felt special. And this part is almost eerie. The divine fraction. The Babylonians used a base 60 number system. That's why, thousands of years later, you still have 60 seconds in a minute and 360 degrees in a circle. Their fingerprints are everywhere. In this system, fractions were elegant. 1/2 worked out cleanly. So did January 3rd, 1/4, and January 6th. But 1/7? 1/7 created an infinite, repeating decimal. It never ended. It never resolved. To ancient mathematicians who believed numbers held divine secrets, 7 was the first number that broke their system. It felt infinite, mystical, almost alive. And when those same mathematicians looked up at the night sky and counted exactly 7 wandering gods, it felt like the universe was screaming, 7 is special. The moon's hidden pattern. But the Babylonians noticed something else, something hiding in plain sight. The moon, that silver goddess drifting through the darkness, changed phase approximately every 7 days. New moon to half moon, 7 days. Half moon to full moon, 7 days. Full moon back to half, 7 days. Half moon to new, 7 days. 4 phases, 4 sevens. A complete lunar cycle of roughly 28 days. Now here's where it gets strange. 28 is what mathematicians call a perfect number. Its factors 1, 2, 4, 7, and 14 add up to exactly 28. Perfect numbers are extraordinarily rare. The ancient Greeks only knew of 4 in the entire number line. Therefore, to ancient minds obsessed with patterns and divine order, the moon's cycle centering around 7 felt like cosmic design, like the universe wanted us to count in sevens. Coincidence? Maybe, but the Babylonians didn't think so. The Jewish connection. Around the same era, another tradition was emerging, one that would carry the 7-day week across centuries and continents. The Hebrew Bible describes God creating the world in 6 days and resting on the 7th, the Sabbath or Shabbat. Here's something fascinating. The word Shabbat was almost certainly borrowed from the Babylonian word Shabbatu, a festival celebrating the full moon. Did the Jewish week influence the Babylonians? Or did the Babylonians influence it? Historians still debate this, because the truth is buried in 4,000 years of lost records. But one thing is absolutely clear. The 7-day week now had 2 unstoppable forces behind it: astronomy and religion. The Jewish people carried this tradition through centuries of exile, through persecution, through wandering. The week traveled with them like a heartbeat. And when Christianity emerged from the same roots, it carried the week forward. When Islam rose, it did the same. 3 of the world's largest religions now had the 7-day cycle woven into their spiritual DNA. The week wasn't just a calendar anymore. It was holy. Rome names the days. Fast forward to ancient Rome. The Romans conquered the Mediterranean world, Egypt, Greece, Babylon's descendants. And with conquest came something unexpected: cultural mixing. They adopted the 7-day week from Egyptian astrologers, who had borrowed it from Babylon. But Romans added their own twist. They named each day after their planetary gods. Dies Solis, day of the sun, Sunday. Dies Luni, day of the moon, Monday. Dies Martis, day of Mars. Dies Mercurii, day of Mercury. Dies Jovis, day of Jupiter. Dies Veneris, day of Venus. Dies Saturni, day of Saturn, Saturday. That's where things get very interesting. The Norse twist. When Germanic and Norse tribes clashed with Rome, they didn't reject the 7-day week. They kept it because it worked, but they refused to worship Roman gods. So they swapped them out, one by one. Mars, the Roman god of war, became Tiw, the Norse god of war. Tuesday, Mercury, the swift messenger, became Woden, the Norse god of wisdom and trickery. Wednesday, Jupiter, who hurled lightning from the heavens, became Thor, who also hurled lightning. Thursday, Venus, the goddess of love and beauty, became Frigga, the Norse goddess of love and fertility. Friday, as one historian joked, nobody ever wrote a love song about Frigga. Venus got all the poetry. By 321 CE, Emperor Constantine made it official. The 7-day week became law throughout the Roman Empire. The week was now unstoppable, or so everyone thought. The empires that tried to kill the week. Remember those revolutions I mentioned at the start? Let's go back. In 1793, revolutionary France was drunk on rationality. They beheaded a king, overthrown the church, and now they wanted to remake everything, including time. They introduced the French Republican calendar. 10-day weeks called decades. Clean, logical, metric. One problem: workers now got 1 rest day in 10 instead of 1 in 7. That meant more work, less rest, less time with family. People hated it. Markets wouldn't adapt. Churches refused to change. Farmers ignored it completely. After 12 years of frustration, Napoleon scrapped the entire system. The 7-day week returned triumphantly. Then came the Soviets. In 1929, Stalin introduced the Neporivka, the continuous week. 5 days. Every worker got one day off, but on rotating schedules. Factories would run 24/7, maximum productivity. But here's what nobody anticipated. Families never shared the same rest day. Husbands worked while wives rested. Children had different days off than parents. Social life collapsed. People couldn't gather for dinners, celebrations, or even simple conversations. By 1940, the Soviet Union quietly abandoned it. 7 days came back. Two of history's most powerful, most ruthless regimes tried to destroy the week. Both failed completely. Why? Why 7 feels right? Religion explains part of it. Billions of people observe weekly holy days, Saturday for Jews, Sunday for Christians, Friday for Muslims. Global infrastructure explains more. Business schedules, school systems, banking software, international trade, everything assumes 7 days. Changing would cost trillions. But there's a deeper reason, something almost biological. In the 1950s, psychologist George Miller discovered something remarkable about the human brain. Our short-term memory can only hold about 7 items at a time. Phone numbers, grocery lists, names at a party. Push past 7 and we start forgetting. This became known as Miller's Law. 7 sits in a cognitive sweet spot. Not too few to be useful. Not too many to overwhelm us. Just enough. Maybe, just maybe, this explains our strange love affair with the number. 7 wonders of the world. 7 colors of the rainbow. 7 deadly sins. 7 continents. 7 seas. 7 chakras. 7 notes in a musical scale. 7 white keys on a piano before the pattern repeats. 7 Harry Potter books. Slot machines use 777 for the jackpot. Cristiano Ronaldo wears number 7. James Bond's code is 007. The number 7 isn't just in our calendars. It's woven into everything we create. So, the next time you groan when your alarm screams on a Monday morning, remember this. You're living inside a system invented by Babylonian stargazers who thought infinite fractions were messages from the gods. A system shaped by religions that outlasted empires. By empires that tried and failed to destroy it. By revolutions that learned the hard way. You don't mess with 7. A system that matches nothing in nature, but somehow matches something deep inside our minds. 7 days, 7 phases of the moon, and a number our brains were built to love. 4,000 years later, every culture on Earth still agrees on this one thing. And now, you know why. If this made you see your week differently, leave a like. It helps more than you think. Subscribe if you want more videos that make everyday things suddenly feel strange. And if you want to know why we work 8 hours a day, then watch this video. I'll see you there.